This video is about how to get clients without ruining your reputation. I'm using Elon Musk as an example because I loved Elon. I looked up to him. I remember watching TED Talks with Elon and being inspired to improve, to do better, to push on. But now this richest man in the world has become so unpopular. He's still incredibly powerful, but I think he's a dickhead. Each week he becomes more and more like Howard Hughes. Now, I don't know what happened to Elon. Maybe he's always been like that. And he's just been able to manage his image so well. Or maybe something changed. But as a business person, it feels like we've kind of lost our icon, like a champion, someone who we could look up to. Elon does whatever he has to win all the money. But he's sold his soul in the process. Now, you're not manipulating governments to win contracts, but in your own way, do you feel like this? Do you feel like you're doing stuff in business that makes you feel ick? Many people feel like they're always pushing themselves on others, especially when doing things like cold outreach and spammy things and all kinds of things that don't align with who you are. First off, these methods don't bring in ideal clients. They just bring in average and below average ones. But that aside, if you keep doing these things, your reputation starts to grow as a low-level person rather than someone who is the best in their field. And only the best in their field get to charge what they're worth. My name's Pat. I help people get clients. My specialty is inbound lead flow. I learned how to sell expensive things to the affluent by not selling to them at all. I realized that when people decide that they want something, they will buy it all on their own, that I don't have to convince them to buy. They make the decision and they go ahead and do it. So the key is the marketing that they saw before they even knew that I existed. I fixed the marketing in our failing family business, and within 9 months, we soared out of about 10 years of accumulated debt. And what I'm going to share with you in the next few minutes made all the difference, from discounting and struggling and not paying ourselves to attracting the best customers who have the capacity to afford the things that they desire. The thing is, I think the reason we were able to turn things around and attract the best customers, which brought in so much money in such a short space of time, is because we changed what we looked like to the world. See, back then, the customers that we had, they saw us as a commodity. And when you're a commodity, it's a race to the bottom with discounting and trying to upsell all the time, which feels gross. But there's this whole world of business education that says to do these things is a numbers game and to see everybody as a wallet and to extract as much money as you can. And yeah, this is a how-to video, sure. But what people forget is that the stuff that we do that makes up our day, our weeks, it changes us. And if we're doing techniques and things with our business that don't align with who we are, it can turn us into the kinds of people that we don't really want to be. See, look at Elon. What a disaster. What a terrible, terrible situation. He sold his soul. His children don't like him. I don't think he has any real friends. And he's become one of the most disliked people on earth. Currently, the techniques and methods I see a lot of people using to try and get clients, these isolate them from their friends and from their family. And it can happen slowly, but over time, they're just not seen as serious people who other people want to pay premium prices for. And we don't need to do this stuff, especially not today. So what do? How do we build our business without becoming the shitty version of ourselves? Ultimately, what we did back then with that brick and mortar that soared out of all that debt in such a short space of time, I've gone on to repeat with a couple of sub 30 mil size companies. And now I help people get clients like coaches and consultants and people with courses. And essentially, put it all into one small package, it's turning lead flow around. That's what it all boils down to. From always having to do outreach and going out and getting customers to getting that lead flow to come to you instead. The only way to do that, to turn the lead flow around, is to become an authority and to become desired. And there are many ways to do this. The good news is there are simple things you can do to get this whole thing in place. And I'm going to list them out for you. The first thing you want to do is stop doing what I call authority kryptonite. We want to stop doing the stuff that makes us look average or below average because this makes us look like a commodity. Most of this is cold outreach, spamming people, sending friend requests, getting into people's DMs, basically just doing all the tacky, hacky things that marketing people will tell you to do. Now, this might be hard for you because maybe you've got your business relying upon outreach to get the revenue to come in. So that's going to be hard. So you need to make a decision. Either spend the next 6 to 12 months turning things around or stay on the path forever. But let's say you're not in that situation where you're relying on outreach all the time. Let's say, in fact, that you don't like doing any of that stuff. And maybe you're currently in a position where you're happy to do a little bit of outreach if you need to keep the lights on, but what you really want to do is to grow an audience and have a bit of a personal brand, but you're just not quite sure how to go about that. And if that's the case, well, it's not going to take you a year. You can turn this around in a couple of months. So once you've stopped the authority kryptonite stuff, second thing you want to do as fast as possible is put together something that I call a unique lead mechanism, so that when people find you, they can become clients in as quickly as a couple of days. Now, I'm not talking about a standard lead magnet. No, not at all. What I'm talking about is like a lead magnet, but on steroids. See, most lead magnets are designed to build email lists. And if you're not an email marketer, then you're not going to have much use for a giant email list. So I'll link a video at the end of this one, which will go into detail about the kind of lead magnet that I'm talking about. So you've stopped doing authority kryptonite. You've got yourself a unique lead mechanism. Next is you want to get away to get yourself off the social media treadmill. You've got to realize that if you're using social media to get clients, and that's the only way you're getting clients, you're fighting a losing battle. I mean, you're bailing water out of a sinking ship, which is fine for now. But while you're doing that, you want to build your own thing. You want to be able to communicate with your audience away from the necessity of social media. You need a place to put your content that doesn't disappear with the feed. So that could be like a Substack or a podcast or a YouTube channel or a newsletter, etc. Because once you have this, then really what you're doing from here on out is you're creating epiphany triggering content. And we create these pieces of content by talking about the things that are important to us. And over a short period of time, you'll start to build a library of things that people can binge. Think of it as your binge bank. And once you have your binge bank and your content is growing, people will be able to see the real you. They'll see that you're not trying to reach out to them to try and get them to coax them in to try and get some money out of their pocket. And in fact, you've got knowledge about their situation that they want, that they need. Because when this happens, people happily take themselves down the rabbit hole. We all do this. We find something that's kind of interesting, we binge it, and then before we know it, it's all we can think about. You see, your content has the capacity to reach a wide audience. And it could be something so simple that someone stumbles across your stuff on, say, a Friday afternoon, and then over the weekend, they binge a bunch of your things, and then at some point, they decide that they want to use your unique lead mechanism, or they just decide to reach out to you instead. See, once you have this stuff in place, you'll find yourself over time not needing to reach out to people anymore, because it's now like a flywheel, and the rate of inbound leads is sufficient to give you all the clients that you need. And this is good. This is good for business. But ultimately, you get to become the kind of person that you want to be. You get to be a leader through the things that you're creating. And you don't have to do things that don't align with who you are, so you don't end up becoming a dickhead. This inbound lead flow, if you want to turn that on as fast as possible, I run the Growth Accelerator a couple of times a year. There's a waitlist in the description. Just add your name to that, and as information becomes available, you'll get it in your inbox. Otherwise, as I said, I'll leave you with a video about lead magnets and how to get your ideal clients reaching out to you. I'll see you in the next video.